Hi there, I'm James Tsai, ARF BarkBark Rescue Foundation. This is the first time I've ever done a live blog broadcast other than my live group training sessions. So this is something that I haven't done before, and to be honest with you, I'm quite the introvert, even though I may not seem like it. So I don't really like to be public with things. I don't mind posting things, but for me, this is just something that has become quite a difficult thing here. So I work with dogs that are dangerous. I work with dogs that are extremely dangerous, predatorial dogs, dogs that really do try to stalk, trap, and kill human beings, kill myself. And these are dogs that are way beyond most people's skill sets. And I do so because I have a rare gift. I have a rare gift that allows me to read a dog at their psychogenetic markers at about 0.2 of a second. I can tell what a dog is literally about to do, what they're about to think. I know why the dog blinks. I know why the dog's tail wags. I know why the dog hackles. Front hackles come up, the rear hackles, the back hackles, when they have piloerection, or as a friend of mine once called full mohawk. I can tell what the dog's about to do. I've been cornered. I've had a dog whose head comes up to my chest stand in front of me waiting for me to move before they attempt to kill me. And there's nobody in this world that works at my level. And I don't care what anybody says, any trolls, any critics, anyone whatsoever. I do what I say I do, and I have proof of it. And what's happened in the past week, every time I give a lot of pro bono. I do a lot of pro bono work for people. I do a lot of pro bono for various rescues, like Save Rocky, the Great Dane Rescue and Rehab. They are the largest Great Dane rescue in North America. I'm recognized by them. I'm recognized by the Court of New York. I'm recognized by Animal Hope and Wellness Foundation, Davy's Voice. Local rescues here like Forever Freed, RAPS, CARE. So I have almost 36 rescue organizations that I provide pro bono for, and they rely on my work and my consultations, which I do for free. I do so because I believe that every trainer and behaviorist in this world should be giving back to our community. There's absolutely no reason that we keep taking money and money and money from the industry. So that's why I have a closed group on Facebook where I give free down training advice. If you go to my website, arfbarkbarkcom, and look for the tab Help for Your Dogs, you'll see screenshots of my conversations online in my Facebook group where I am reading people's dogs just from the descriptions and words. And so to me, my passion for dogs is incomparable. I am prepared to die with a dog. And I have been placed in situations. I've had Nero when he died in June 11th at 13 years, 7 months, 1 week of age, my beloved Nero. He once nipped me by the top of the head, grabbing both sides of my temple at the same time. He is an extremely dangerous dog. Not as extremely dangerous as Walter is, but very much so, very dangerous. So long story short, in the last week I've had 5 people who've come up to me through phone calls or through email or whatever. And they're all talking about killing their dog. This is not cool. The reason why they're talking about killing their dog is because people are telling them, hey, you know what? There's no way to help your dog. Your dog has a behavioral issue. No one can fix your dog because your dog won't take a treat, a piece of food. Because your dog that's dysfunctional, psychologically screwed up, insecure, codependent, low self-esteem, all these issues that are similar to a child, a 2 or 3-year-old child, people are saying, hey, there's nothing we can do for your child. There's nothing we can do for your dog. Your dog won't take a treat, so your dog needs to die. And you know what these owners do? They believe it. And so I've had a couple of people recently, including tonight, who I even stepped up, even though it wasn't my dog, wasn't my rescue dog, not even my rescue dog. I said to them in writing, I will take legal responsibility, transfer the dog through me, and I'll find your dog a home. They refused, and they've informed me tonight that they will be killing their dog. It's a life. It's a life. But they're going to be killing their dog. Even though I said to them that the trainer that you saw in Richmond gave you incorrect training information, they're still going to kill their dog. Is this an anthropomorphization of human guilt is what it is. If we can't fix our own dog, instead of taking the responsibility and saying, hey, you know what, we caused this and we're going to try to help our dog, we're going to kill our dog because we feel guilty for killing our dog, for killing a dog that should have life. And they say, well, you know, the dog is not feeling good. The dog is feeling miserable. Any of this stuff. It's completely ridiculous. It's our human guilt that we're putting onto our dogs. Do you know the life that those dogs had in the shelter or stray dogs, worrying about being killed by other dogs, worrying about whether or not they're going to have something to eat, worrying or not that they're going to get attacked by other dogs in the shelter? Those cement walls and those shelters echo the sound of every little tiny sound. Could you imagine putting your head into a metal garbage can and having someone smack it with a spoon every single time? That's what these dogs hear in shelters. And then they're expected to come home and be A-OK in this new home. And if they don't comply in the next 2 or 3 days, let's find them a trainer that's going to train dysfunctions. I have talked so many times why treat training is counterintuitive to a dog's natural behavior. And yet the industry suppresses the reality. Treat training a dog goes back to Pavlov. Ivan Pavlov, the Russian, published his theory in 1897, 122 years ago. This is what the dog training society, the industry, does to protect themselves. They rely on a 122-year-old theory of giving dogs treats. Now, if you give a drug addict more drugs, you feed the addiction. What do you think you do to a dysfunctional dog when you give them treats? When it comes to obedience training, when it comes to anything else, it's totally great. It gets compliance. That's all awesome. But when it comes to treat training, dysfunction, it's just like giving a drug addict more drugs. And that's what the industry continues to go on. If the dog doesn't comply, the dog is broken, the dog needs to die. So we end up getting all these issues where these dogs are being killed needlessly because of the reliance on this stupidity, the banality of treat training a dog. Here's another fact. Nowhere in the entire canine species does food exist as a communication device. Food does not exist as a reward fiat. You don't see one dog picking up a piece of carrion and bring it to another dog to feed. You don't see any of that ever happening because it doesn't exist in the canine world. Yet, in the arrogance of humanity, as apex predators on this earth, we think that the dog will respond to treats. And if the dog doesn't respond to treats, the dog needs to die. You see this Dr. Ian Dunbar, who does his bite level 5, bite level 6 causing death. These dogs are the dogs that I see as an average type of dog to me. These are the dogs that I correct without treats or medication because I want to save the life of these dogs. So all these trainers and behaviors that are telling you that your dog is not fixable, that they should be killed, find yourself another trainer or behaviorist. I've dealt with dogs that one of the top international behaviorists in North America that consults on regional, provincial, state, and national laws have said to kill a dog. I've seen her report where it says either rehome the dog or kill the dog. What type of professional plays both sides of the board with the life of your dog? That dog now, which was seized by the city of Vancouver Animal Control, is down in Seattle at the Boeing Bomb and Explosives Detections Program. The dog that I helped the owner with would have been killed by this behaviorist who recommended that this dog die. So that is what we call inexperience and arrogance and protecting one's ego at the expense of other dogs. At the expense of the dog's life. Absolutely ridiculous, but we continue to live in this. We continue to believe that it's A-OK to kill a dog if the dog doesn't take a treat. So if scientists are saying that dogs are like a 2 to 3 year old child, why do we not treat our beloved dogs as if they're children with a rudimentary psychological understanding of their behavior? Dogs are reacting at 1/10 of a second. So when you hear a trainer or even somebody just off the street saying, well, my dog's unpredictable, my dog has done this without any signs or anything like that, it's actually because the dog is reacting at dog speed at 1/10 of a second. I'm just so frustrated to see how quickly and how easily dogs are being killed for all this. I just 5 dogs in the past week. And some of these people don't listen to reason because they're being told by this top trainer, by this top behaviorist, that there's no help. You know, I'm just really at a loss, and I really just hope that this society of dog trainers changes the way they behave. I hope academia changes the way they behave. I hope they respect the fact that dogs are lives, that they shouldn't be killed. If you don't know what you're doing, get the heck out of the profession, or at least find somebody else who can do what needs to be done. So when I work with a dog, I'm reading the way the dog blinks. I'm reading the way the dog breathes. I'm reading which way the dog is looking, left or right, which way the dog is licking the face, front, left, center. All of it is emotional and cognitive processing on what the dog does. It's body language at the dog speed at 1/10 of a second. So this is what I say to people. How can I prove that dogs are that fast? When you take your dog to a park, a regular park where they're not allowed off leash, and you hold the leash of your dog, and your dog is straining and waiting and waiting and waiting to run. If you notice that the instant you let go of that leash, before it's even touched the ground, your dog has already bolted off. That's taking the physical input, cognitively processing it, and manifesting it physically into launching themselves off the ground. That's 1/10 of a second. We humans react between 3/10 to 8/10 of a second. We are already 3 to 8 times slower than our dogs. That's why we're wrong when we say dogs are unpredictable. We're just too darn slow. And because we're too darn slow, we're blaming the dog for being unpredictable, for the dog biting somebody, for the dog nipping at somebody. But our dogs have already given signs minutes, days ahead of time of the behavior that's happening to them that's unacceptable. So we need trainers. I'm pleading to trainers and behaviors to wake up and realize that by giving treats to dogs is not happening. What you got to do is you actually have to connect and read what the dog is doing, what the behavior is doing, and actually see the dog as a life as opposed to just some sort of stupid machine that eats food. They talk about dogs not like being hugged. How many people here that are watching this have heard that dogs don't like to be hugged? So here's a way to dispel all of that. How many times does your dog come up to you to be petted? How many times does your dog, when you're sitting on the couch, comes up and sits beside you? How many times, for those of you who let your dog sleep on the bed, how many times does your dog come up on the bed and sleep with you? How many times do you see dogs in the wild, in the caves with those hidden cameras and all that stuff, where they're sleeping on top of each other, laying on top of each other? So why would a dog not like to be hugged? It's the most intimate aspect of connection between two sentient beings. When we go out with somebody, we hold their hand. We look into their eyes. We express our affection for the other person. This is how dogs do it. At dog speed, of course, but this is how dogs do it. They love to be hugged. And hugging is a trust issue. And I explained that as well, I say this to owners. If you're walking down the street and I just walked up to you and I gave you a hug out of the blue, you'd be offended. You'd be upset. You'd be like, dude, what are you doing trying to hug me? I don't know who the heck you are. But if I knew you and if we were friends, I walked up to you and gave you a hug, it is acceptable because it's a trust aspect. Another misnomer, another ridiculous statement is that never look a dog in the eyes. It's confrontational. It's blah, blah, blah. This is the wrong path that training and academia behaviorists have gone down. An incorrect path that they are foolishly, unrelentingly refusing to look at the validity of life. eye contact is a basis of actually trust. If I met you and I was trying to sell you my car, this is what I tell people. If I'm trying to sell you my car, and I went, yeah, hey, you know what? This is a really nice car. I'm not making eye contact with you. What's the first thing that's going to go through your head? You're going to think to yourself, this guy's shifty and there's something wrong with the car. I don't trust him. Eye contact is earned. That's what's important. Okay, so I'm almost pretty well done my rant. This is the first time, like I said, that I've ever done this live type of broadcast in this case. I want to thank, I hope I'm pronouncing your name, Eloja Rossale, for your comment, and also Colleen, Allen, as well for your support and all the stuff. If you have any questions, I'm probably going to do this on a regular basis. I'd like to. I've been trying to get the nerve to do this for a number of months, if not longer, to say and do live comments and answering questions. So, if you have any questions that you want me to answer about dog behavior, or if you have your own dog and you want me to talk about them and work through some down training advice online here live, I'm more than happy to do so. And, feel free to add it to the comment section of my live broadcast, and just let me know what you want to have answered, and I'll go over it next time. And I will try to do it sooner than later. If you haven't already, go visit my website, ARF BarkBarkcom. Check out the tab for help for your dog. It's a free group where you will get free down training advice. And again, like I said, you will see, you're welcome, Deborah, you will see on the tab screenshots of my evaluations of dogs that will blow away any behaviorist or trainer in this whole frickin' world, because I'm talking about the dogs in the psychological aspects, the psychogenetic rooting of their behavior by destructuring the aspects and the affectations of those behaviors to the very slivers of their behavior. So you can see that it's all proof and etc. and so forth. My life is dedicated to dogs, and anyone that knows me knows that I willingly put my life on the line. I'm alone with these dogs. I've been in situations where I've been confronted and trapped by some significantly dangerous dogs where I worry whether or not I'm going to bleed out. And it's not fun, and I'm extremely afraid at all times. But my dedication is to helping the dogs. I have a gift that I must share with the world. I want to thank a well-known writer, Alan Shelton. Is a phenomenal man who has been in the background, him and his wife Justine, but Alan has been supporting and me and helped coaching me along my path. He's worked with some CEOs that are like Nike and Vans and so forth, and he has come on and just volunteered to help me. He's out in Hawaii with Justine, and they've given me support. Same with Stephen Elliott out in the UK. Rescues like Peace Love Danes, and obviously Save Rocky. Same with New Hope for Danes. I can't think of the names of all the other places, but I want to thank everybody for giving me support. And some of you, like Colleen, that for the longest time I've been trolled mercilessly by a lot of people. And the irony is, you check out my YouTube channel, you'll see probably half of my subscribers are all 0 or 1 or 2 followers themselves, which means, and it's because I get some trainers and behaviors that are not allowed to publicly associate with me, who follow me on my YouTube channel, as well as they follow my Facebook page to see what I'm saying, just so they can use that information. Plus I consult with them as well. But anyhow, this is the first time I've done this live broadcast, so I'm kind of all over the board, a little bit, still a little bit nervous. But I did my hair for everybody. So anyhow, I want to thank everyone for checking in. 4 or 5 people is just as valid as 10 people or 100 people. Everyone, I really appreciate the support from y'all. All right, so thank you and have a great night. Please make sure that when you talk to a trainer of behaviors, find out what their kill rate is, find out what their medicating rate is, find out if they know what behavioral euthanasia is, and if those are points of concern for you, definitely find yourself another trainer or behaviorist, one that actually understands that dogs are live. Just anyhow. Thank you so much, and keep following. Okay, bye bye.